Television Limited be held liable for any inaccuracies, errors, or omissions with respect to the information in the transmission or any part thereof, or for any damage arising therefrom. The entire risk and the accuracy, adequacy, completeness, validity, and quality of any information is within the show's producer. In no event will Synergy Entertainment Television Limited, its heirs, or assigns be liable to any party for any direct, indirect, special, punitive, or consequential damages or any other damages arising in any way out of the production about to be aired.
Good evening, Trinidad-Tobago. Good evening to all of the loyal viewers and listeners to SynergyTV. Welcome to the final episode this week of The Real Issues with Dominic Romain. Always a pleasure to be with you, and thank you all so much for choosing Synergy this evening, because we know there are always a number of competing programs on other frequencies that you could have chosen, but for those of you who have decided to stick with us, we always appreciate it. And this is the program where, as I always tell you, we discuss the real issues, the topical issues, the trending issues that would have occupied the minds and the lips of the citizens during the course of not just the day, but over the course of the week. So we discuss, well, politics in the main, but sometimes we try to throw in a little something with respect to the economy and whatever area might be the pressing issue of the day. And certainly politics is the main issue, the main topic these days, not just in Trinidad, but on the other side of the pond, across in Tobago, where we see some upheaval taking place there with respect to Chief Secretary Fali Augustine, as well as Trevor James and other members of the THA executive, where at the launch of the official launch of their party on Sunday, the Chief Secretary would have declared Trinidad is that Tobago is at war. At war with whom? Well, seems as war has been declared on Trinidad. Certainly not a welcomed development at all, but we will see how that pans out as time goes by. On the other side, back here in Trinidad, we are still in the throes of the limelight of the recently concluded local election, which by and large, still the results are still coming in, because as you know, there were 14 recounts requested, some of which are still ongoing, some of which have been decided, and there would have been a development to two in particular. The seat in Arima, I think it's Arima Northeast, as well as Lengua Indian Walk, where both seats would have resulted in a tie. And the tie would have been broken in the Arima Northeast seat, where, based on what we would have just been reading, it appears that the UNC would have captured that seat by some one vote. So what that underscores is the saying, every single vote counts. So that when persons sit down and say, well, my one vote wouldn't make a difference, man. This party has it in the bag or that party has it in the bag. This particular election has shown us never take that for granted. And for the want of one vote, thus far, a seat has been lost by the ruling People's National Movement. Certainly, it's that type of consolation that the opposition UNC needs, because, as we would have said before, they were expecting to trounce the PNM. It was supposed to have been a bloodbath, and it was anything but. So these sorts of developments, of course, would serve to provide some level of consolation to the rank and file of the United National Congress, who would have been expecting a much better outcome on Monday than what would have occurred. So I'm sure there's going to be some level of rejoicing in the party for this latest development. So we wait to see what the outcome of the other tied seat would be, that one of Lengua Indian Walk, which I believe is in the corporation of Prince's Town. So if it is somehow the PNM is able to carry that seat, it would be the first time that they would have been able to do so. And obviously it would pour cold water on the UNC's, the narrative about them making inroads into PNM territory, because it seems the PNM would have done Similarly, in their heartland constituencies as well. One to note is one of the newest constituencies, that of Couva West, Roystonia, where the victorious candidate there, the UNC candidate, would have won by some 71 votes in what is arguably a UNC stronghold. So if that isn't considered to be inroads, I don't know what is. But on the other side, if we look at the amount of votes that the PNM would have captured, some 130,000 or 31,000 less than they would have gotten. In 2019 would have contributed to some extent to the narrowing of the gap in some of these districts between the PNM and the UNC. So it is left to be seen what the PNM is going to do now in order to ensure that those votes are recaptured. But when we look at the trends, historical trends between local government and general election, it seems that PNM supporters are more inclined to come out in their numbers for general elections, as evidenced by the fact that in 2015 and 2020, the PNM would have laid claim to the popular vote, 384,000 in 2015, and then in 2020, 322,000 votes to the UNC's 309,000. And that would have come on the heels of 161,000 votes in the local government election just 8 months before, in December of 2019. So we continue to look at those, at that situation, how it develops, and what the final outcome is going to be. But we know as we head into general election of 2025, we expect to see all parties, revving up their engine, so to speak, for, well, I don't even want to say the grandmother or the mother of all general elections, because I think that it was the same title was given in 2020. This was supposed to be the mother of all local government elections. And the outcome was anything but. But in studio with me this evening is my very good friend, no stranger to the studios of Synergy, Jennifer Frederick. And as I say, Jenny always bails me out when I find myself in a little pickle when my substantive guest is unable to come. I ain't gonna call no names, but hopefully next week they would be available to present themselves. At least, well, two of my guests who were supposed to come this week, unfortunately, were not able to make it. And I will make a concerted effort to ensure that they join us next week. But remember, as I mentioned to you last night, on Tuesday, we have Wendell Eversley, who will be joining us again for part 2. And we will be focusing on the COP, the party to which he still belongs. Wendell always says the PNM is the problem and the UNC is not the solution. So we will interrogate that a little more next week, Tuesday, and delve really into the thinking, the mindset of the Congress of the People going into the partnership, what would have happened in that whole arrangement, and where the COP is today, and where Wendell sees that party going, if it's going anywhere. So, Jen, good evening, and thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, good evening again, Dominic, and always a pleasure to be here. That's what friends are for, right?
Yes.
And good evening to the listening public, those on social media and traditional TV. I'm here, and I would be guided by Dominic, what he wants to speak about. So
Yes. So let me also add, Jenny has a podcast on Facebook called
Let We Talk the Thing.
Let We Talk the Thing.
That's where we just talk anything.
Yes. So just go here on Facebook, just go up and type in Let We Talk the Thing, and you have it. What is
tomorrow? Is from 4:30. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 4:30 to 5:30.
Right. So trust me, you don't want to miss it. So tune in and see what Jen has to offer. So Jenny, we've not had the pleasure of your thoughts with respect to the outcome of Monday's election. Was the results, is it what you had expected? Were you like some people with your heart in your hand or in your belly while the results were coming out on Monday night, or is it that you were confident that the PNM would have been able to pull this off, notwithstanding all the narrative that we were hearing from the UNC that it was going to be a bloodbath, or as Munilal said, the PNM would be beaten to a frazzle and then they'll beat the frazzle too, and all of that gun talk, load up the matic and all them things.
Well, Dominic, I used to perform because I would write
Yes.
my own poems and stuff.
Okay.
So I used to perform.
Right.
So even though I know I have a good piece and that, before I get on stage, no matter how good I know I am, you used to feel a sense I might want to feel like I want to throw up, you might start to feel it. So it's a normal thing. So even if you're confident, you'll still get some jitters and stuff. So the same thing with this local elections. It was the same thing. You're still nervous and thing because you know at the end of the day, we know that the voter turnout is always low. So you're there just watching. I told Mr. Chance, I said, oh, call me and tell me I don't want to hear nothing. But then not knowing was worse than knowing.
Yes.
So then I wasn't getting no information. So I was trying to call everybody and not getting anything. So that was even worse. So to me, Monday was the worst thing ever because I wasn't getting no information.
Right.
Because I told people, don't call me. But the People's National Movement and those right-thinking citizens stood their ground on Monday night. And they lighted up with their fingers when they went to the poll. They stood their ground because the People's National Movement retained 7 corporations. So that has not changed. But the UNC, to me, would have put forward Jack Warner and Gary Griffith as this super duo that will come in with the UNC.
Energize the base.
Yes. By the time they finish, the only thing PNM might have, they might even have Diego Martin. It might just be probably Port of Spain, you know? And to see that they did all that and UNC just retained 7 seats. They are speaking about the popular vote, but as I was told, popular votes is not seats, is not authority, is not power.
Correct.
So you have the popular vote really in this system, we have a voting says nothing. So if that is what they want to hold on to feel that something has happened, good for them. But as you would have mentioned to me when I asked you, at the last local government election, the UNC would have garnered 200,000 votes.
Yeah, 202,000, yes.
And this time, they were only able to garner 173,000 votes.
Yeah.
So actually about 29,000 people did not vote for the UNC this round. So anyhow you take it, the UNC would not have done well even with the 7 seats. And Kamala Prasad-Bissessar is speaking about a winner. I don't know if we could have a winner in a tie. But again, her maths is never maxing, so I'm not surprised. But as I'm saying again, that the PNM would have done well, despite all the hammering the PNM would have gotten, the Prime Minister would have gotten, local reform would have gotten, and all this super duo who came together to end it all, you know, we would have done well. So we stood our grounds.
Yes. So, so I know that for a lot of people, a lot of people were relieved on Monday night. And as I was making the point last night, Jen, the UNC, and we don't profess to be political analysts.
No, I'm not.
We have no doctorates.
No.
Yes, my initials may be DR, but that don't mean I ain't no doctor, all right? So, but we understand the thing, right? We've been studying it for a while, just as you ordinary layman. And what I would have been able to glean is that just as they did in 2020, we saw the UNC did it again in this election where they would have hitched their political fortunes to social media.
Yeah.
So they're reading comments, they're seeing people putting out lives and clips on TikTok, bashing the government and only negative commentary. And even on their own Facebook pages where they would have been putting out their memes and they're looking at the different types of, what's the word I want to use, boy? The traction that they get in, And they tell themselves, yes, we have it in the bag. The country hates the PNM, the government is unpopular, and we're on the road to victory, which is why several of them were talking about, the PNM going to get a good cocktail. Not just the spokesmen for the party, but supporters as well, who were saying that, who would be taunting PNM supporters, well, they're going to get it worse than Tobago, and don't worry, a cocktail book, and all of these different things. And after the results came out on Monday night, all of these persons seem to have gone quiet.
Yeah, you know what? I think people just get tied up on social media that when they see viewership and who log in and tune in,
Yes.
that they automatically think it's supported.
Yeah.
Some people just like the drama and the
Correct.
bang and all, so them coming to see what happened. It does not mean that they support your views or they agree with it, but they want something to look at because, especially coming out of COVID-19, where we were all locked inside, so we want something exciting. So social media became the place to be, and that has continued. So a lot of people who see that 200 and something thousand viewers, or on the live one time is 500 or 600, it does not translate into these people support your views.
Yes.
People just like Kuchura and Bacchanal, some of them, and they will log into anything that, and they will make the comments to suit to cause a create, create a sensation. So they'll put a comment and then everybody jump on, and that's the excitement with it. So, but what is interesting, as you said, all those persons who are making these videos, all those young persons, and this one with Light It Up and Stand It Ground and Kamala, this and Dr. Robbie, this, whatever. I think now they're supposed to be back out making fresh ones now.
Yes.
And saying that the UNC have won and the people didn't come out because the UNC get the popular vote and you're not seeing anything. So it tells me, it appears as if that was some type of coordinated effort, just as we would have seen in 2020 with all those ads and those derogatory things that were being said about persons of African descent. And then we heard from one of those UNC persons who would have left and saying that he was a part of the whole media, social media. He was given instruction basically to have a whole social media group of people just there from it. Karim, I think was his name?
Alan Karim.
Alan Karim.
Yes. He was in charge of the UNC social media.
Right. So it appears again there was somebody in charge of that again, and just have these people doing those things. I'm just saying. It looks like that because if it was really a genuine thing and caring, they would have been out there now again.
Yes.
Making lies, whether or not saying they disagree with the results or they like the results or something, but there's a deafening silence on social media when it comes to that.
But and in the wake of well, before I go there, during the campaign on a number of occasions, Mrs. Prasad-Visesa on the hustings, would have criticized the EBC, spoken about how the chief elections officer is supposedly a relative of a former government minister. We've heard that before. The EBC bias, they insisted that they wanted election observers. Mrs. Prasad-Visesa would have indicated she wrote to several foreign entities seeking the intervention of election observers. We haven't heard anything from her, any follow-up in terms of whether or not she got a response, but we know there were no observers. I wonder if this evening, given this latest development with respect to the recount in Arima Northeast, where the UNC candidate has been declared the winner, and so the UNC would have one representative on council in Arima, if they are still of the view that the EBC biased and the chief elections officer is against the UNC and all of these different things, the very same EBC that would have conducted that recount.
If you were to think like them, you say the EBC is UNC because they get one more vote now for UNC, right?
Yes.
So Kamala Prasad-Visesa will continue with her rhetoric because she's like somebody clutching at straws. So she will say anything. I think Kamala Prasad-Visesa just says, people really think Kamala Prasad-Visesa cares, in my opinion. She really doesn't care. It's just simply, in my opinion, about power at any means necessary. And she says, I think she's very calculated. In my opinion, I do not think she's a good lawyer, but I think she's very calculated. And people think that she's doing things ad hoc. I think she has a plan. It may seem to us on the outside, but I think it is all calculated. And I just say that she just eat her young, because when you look at the people that she just pulled together for the People's Partnership, it was MSG and COP, McCandle Dagger and the whole crew. When she got into office, it was all about United National Congress. And all of those people just became at the side.
A means to an end.
Right. You look at how she treated Stacey Rupnarine, Carolyn Sipasad Beechon. And you look now, after joining with Jack and Gary, all of them, Gary would have done himself a disservice now because he has been absorbed into the UNC and he has lost. He don't have anything, so he will have no real traction again, and Jack Warner is basically a non-entity. So Kamala Prasad Bissessa will say what she needs to say to get traction and to get a rise out of people in this country. However, it's the same EDC that other Caribbean countries, when they going to have the elections, just ask them to come to train their officers. So that says a lot. And all the elections we've been having since this country has started having elections, there has never been any incidents to put any stain or anything on the EDC. So we know they're reliable and they're very professional. Just tonight I was talking to a colleague, and it's the first time he took part in an election. And he's telling me he's glad he did that because he saw how the EDC works. They don't stick, everything is in an order and very professional. And he was really, really impressed about that. So I don't take what Kamala's saying as anything, but you know, people who are opposed to the PNM will hold on to that. I'm happy for them to get a one vote. They just celebrate that, you know, one vote. You know, they don't celebrate everything. You know, if it was half and all, they would celebrate that. Why is PNM, if it was on the other side, you'd be like, okay, we're happy and that's it. But they're going to talk about this one vote.
Yes.
They just so,
Yeah, but I mean, in contrast to, well, when we look at the length and breadth of the East-West corridor, starting with Diego Martin, come up, there was no real headway in Diego Martin, even though Gary Griffith is trying to create a narrative, and a false one at that, to say, well, look at how much votes, we narrowed the gap. You didn't narrow the gap. There was simply a fall off of PNM votes. So whatever issue, whatever may have been responsible for that. But what we have seen is that disenchantment with the PNM does not equate to endorsement of the UNC. They were not able to get those persons who, for whatever reason, chose to abstain from voting or not voting for the PNM in this time to come across to their camp.
But again, I'm saying local government election has never had a high voter turnout.
Yes.
A lot of people are more interested in voting for general election. They will tell you that. You can't remember, I'll tell you, I vote in every election it happens. Sometimes I go in to vote and they say, where are you going? I say, I go and vote here. Nobody will vote in local government election when you go in.
Yes.
It's general election. So that's and that was years ago I'm talking about. And that continues because people don't see the real need to do that. But I think with local government reform, when the Burgesses are getting real-time service, they will realize how important it is, because it wouldn't have this, we can't do anything until central government give us money, or the corporation don't have money and we have to wait. I think now, in the next 4 years, you're going to see a difference when local government election comes. That is when we're going to see crowds actually coming out, because they love the service they're getting with the councillors.
Yes.
So it will be different then, but as now I don't see any big drama in this thing. General election, you're going to see a difference.
Yes.
People is going to come. That's some Sandy Grandy. Corporation will lose. When is election time? The way they configure that for voting is totally different than this. So take all your districts, okay, no problem, serve the people, all that, but general election is something totally different. So I am not too concerned. However, PNM always has work to do.
Yes.
And as the party evolves and they start to incorporate more young persons, because if you look at the candidates who they put up offer themselves in PNM, is a lot of young persons. Even when you look at who are the mayors of the borough of Diego Martin, it's 2 females.
Right.
I know one of them, not personally, but I would have met her at a sports day. I think Miss Akila Glasgow.
Yes.
She's a young person in terms
Akila has been in the vineyards
Right.
laboring in the
And
vineyards to the PNM for quite a while.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure she probably about early 40s or so.
She's a young
Right.
woman. Yes.
And there's another female. Well, I don't know her, but the other persons you're talking about, Chinua, I think is his name.
Chinua Allen, yes,
right?
that's
a
Mr.
young
Manning's
guy. Yeah.
nephew.
Son
Yes.
of Manning's nephew.
Josiah Austin.
Exactly.
Josiah is in his late 30s, I think.
Right. So you're seeing that the PNM is actually letting young persons, of course, with guidance,
Yes.
step forward. And they have stepped forward. Look at Vashana.
Mm-hmm.
She may not have won
Yes.
a seat, but she was the youngest candidate.
Correct.
And she said she wants to continue
Yes.
in this. So we're seeing a new breed of People's National Movement candidates and supporters, and the party needs to change with that, and they wouldn't. But sometimes change is something that a lot of people are scared of.
Yeah.
And it's not how you do it, it's not what you do, it's how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
And once everybody's on board, I think it augurs well for the PNM. When I look at the UNC, however, I am not seeing growth.
Right.
I'm not seeing any growth. I'm seeing just recycled persons with the same type of mentality and ideologies that is bacchanal and lying and confusion and not going anywhere. Somebody was saying, I think it's one of those, Winford James, who I don't know how he's being called to talk on anything politics, because to my mind, he's a political commentator, because I think his degrees and stuff is into language. So I don't know why they always call him to give any kind of evaluation or any analysis of anything political in this country. But the talk is that Dr. Rowley should step down and give somebody new. And I want to tell them, if Dr. Rowley were to do that, it has several persons that you could look to take over, you know.
Yes.
If Kamala Prasad says so, they tell she the same thing to step down, who would have? You don't really have anybody.
Nobody that could
Exactly. So
to crossover votes.
So please, all you stop that foolishness. Joe Biden is how old?
Joe will be
President, 80.
Yeah.
How old is Dr. Rowley?
73, is that?
72 or 3 or whatever it is. Come all of you, all this stuff, all think it's a long time thing. Kamala Prasad be sister against Dr. Rowley any day. Kamala, you need to go, man, rest. She always supposed to be telling she needs to step down and let the UNC breathe. Yeah, she's stifling the UNC, but they will have to deal out and sort out this sort of. But I'm not seeing any growth in the UNC.
Yeah.
Even the young persons who come in, they don't know anything. Look at the young guy. I'll be bold to say that the new candidate. Congratulations to him up in Bocas or something in his name. Bocas.
John Michael Ali Bocas.
Yeah.
Yes.
I heard him speak and he could be good, but right now he don't know. I doubt he knows anything about local government reform. I doubt he knows anything about being a council or anything. I think he may have won based on the good looks, the young guy, the artist, and that kind of vibes. People always go towards personalities. I think that may have worked in his favor. But if you go hardcore against a seasoned council or something, I don't think.
Yeah.
So UNC taking people that don't have the necessary skills, I say, based on certain things you'll hear them say. And it's not an insult, it's real talk we're talking here.
Real talk.
Yeah.
But we're going to a break, folks. First of the evening, and we continue the discussion when we come back on the other side of 8:30. So stay locked. We'll be right back.
Tired of wasting precious time at the bank applying for a loan, only to be denied? We understand your frustration. Here at Realtor Group of Companies, we take a different approach. Contact Saeed, Managing Director of Realtor Group of Companies and licensed moneylender at 238-6716, 242-7690 or 339-1670. Feel free to visit our office at number 14 Carney Savannah Road, Chaguanas, or number 132 Superior Road, Victoria Village, San Fernando.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors, roti makers. Try Chic Leisha high-quality, unbleached, bromate-free, all-purpose and whole wheat flour. Bleached flour and bromate flour is treated with chemicals that can cause cancer, and this is banned in Europe and many other countries. Chic Leisha flour offers a healthier option, being that it's unbleached and bromate-free. It also has a finer grain and a softer texture, lower priced and conveniently packaged in 2 pound, 2 kg, 10 kg and 25 kg bags. Available at groceries and supermarkets. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Chic Leisha Limited at 665-3336 or 480-8715 or visit them at Warrenville, Canupia. Chic Leisha Limited. Quality you can trust.
The Solid Agency, the standard for artiste management and development. Booking for an exclusive roster of the region's top-rated entertainers. The Solid Agency, the standard for event execution live and virtual, including fully loaded Shaggy and Friends, New York, Nigeria, and Antigua music festivals, Burgess Long Walk to Freedom, Bounty, Beanie Versus, to name a few. Make your career or your event solid. Contact us now, thesolidagency@gmail.com. Call 1-876-469-4005. Visit solidagency.com.
Welcome back. And of course, thank you for staying locked to the real issues with yours truly, Dominic Romain, and my guest this evening, Ms. Jennifer Frederick. Certainly no stranger to studios, yes, and can always depend on Jenny, you know, and short notice to pull me out. So we were having a discussion, but before we get back to that, I see, Jen, there's an event currently taking place in the Queen's Park Savannah called Youth on the Stage, a presentation from the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service. Yes, so always engaging and always coming up with different strategies to engage the youth. So from what I'm seeing there online, there seems to be a significant crowd. The grandstand appears to be jam-packed as they say. So again, kudos to Foster Cummings, Minister of Youth Development and National Service, for another phenomenal opportunity for the young people to be able to harness their talents. Because we certainly need opportunities like this to keep them out of, a life of crime. Because they say idle hands are the devil's workshop. And so the ministry is constantly reinventing itself and coming up with strategies and programs such as these to engage the young people. So again, kudos to the ministry and by extension, the government of Trinidad and Tobago. And for the people who are up there, who are enjoying themselves, continue to do so. And for those of you who may be so minded to make your way to the Savannah, well, you could go and check out and see what it is that they have going on there. But this is just one of several programs that the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service, the newest ministry in the country, created by the PNM, by the Prime Minister, to engage the youth of Trinidad and Tobago and really to give them opportunities to showcase their talents and to develop and harness those talents. So again, kudos to them. So Jen, I see, I didn't want to change but I see there's a development in Tobago, allegedly, not allegedly, I'm reading where it was confirmed on the news this evening that 2 members of the THA executive have been arrested and charged for resisting a disclosure order or something of the sort. And I'm seeing it's being identified as Zia Hackett, the Education Secretary, and I missed the other name. But if that is in fact the case, that is certainly an interesting development in this whole soap opera that is taking place in Tobago that started with AudioGate and now seems to be going deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole with the Chief Secretary and his Secretary for Infrastructure, declaring that Tobago is now at war. In fact, they have warned certain public officials, including the TTPS licensing officers and so on, that they are persona non grata in Tobago, so don't come up here.
Farley and they started since back in the day of Watson Solomon Juke. When Juke used to be saying, you see them people, the big red flag?
Yes, no
I hate
justice.
them, man. No justice for them when he gets into office, right? They started that narrative by separating Tobago, PNM and PDP, and saying what they will do to PNM persons. Even though they would have separated from Watson Solomon Juke, I think that mindset has continued.
Yes.
The problem with Farley is, just as Derek Ramsey-Rouge would have said, he seems to be suffering from a hubris syndrome.
Yes.
Yeah. And that doesn't augur well for Tobago. Because even if Tobago is seeking autonomy, which is their right to do, you need somebody with the experience to know how to negotiate those type of conversations.
Yes.
They have to be mature, they have to understand diplomacy, they have to be civil. He doesn't have any of that. And with regards to two persons being arrested and charged, that is to be expected because of their behaviors. They feel they can do anything that they want. And the sad thing is, in my opinion, they are being prompted by the intellectuals in Tobago, because I think they've seen it that let them rule, but we'll be in the back and telling them. But I think this crew has gotten away from them, and they're no longer in control, and they don't even know how to do damage control, because they are so full, in my mind, of resentment for Trinidad and wanting to be on their own, that they're letting that cloud their mind and not understanding. If Tobago is to be separated in the morning, they keep speaking about the waters have, or is gas? No, oil.
Yes, hydrocarbons, oil and gas, yes.
Oil and gas. Do you think in the morning we just separate and they say, okay, across here, 50 feet across, that is ours. And that is not how those things are done. Those things take years to get to that level, arbitration and all that. When you finish all that, where's the money? Where you get the money to pay for those type of lawyers and that whole process? Okay, so you get through. You now have to get people to come in and build rigs and whatever they need to build. That is the next long time. Where do you have money to do that? Then you have to get the refinery and the this and all. It's a whole lot of stuff. Where's the human capacity to run and drive that industry when you're coming from just a tourist industry? So they're very unrealistic right now, especially in the space they're going at for autonomy. And Farley, I suspect more arrests is going to come. Farley foolish talk about the police and what they're doing, and they're not recognizing Tobago. The Prime Minister of England was driving in his car without a seat belt, doing a live. And the police pick it up and they send a ticket for him. The Prime Minister of England. You will just take your head wherever you know what police to talk to, you know what police come to. The police is Trinidad and Tobago. We haven't been separated. And they could work anywhere between Trinidad and Tobago. And if they have work to do, whether you're the Prime Minister, is the THA head, wherever it is, that has nothing to do with the law and breaking the law. You'll be treated the same as everything else. What you may have is the best lawyers that we wouldn't have. But in terms of the search in your place, they mightn't come in with a dog and walk all on your bed and all that, but once they have a warrant to search, they will search.
Yes.
You can't say the police targeting you. They have to do the job. You are not above the law. Farley, Chavez, Augustine, if you're watching, you're not above the law. You is not an emperor. You really don't get it. You're trying to go up against a seasoned, as Derek Ramsey said. Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley is a seasoned political warrior. He has been out in the vineyard for years. You can't come up against Dr. Rowley and come away unscathed. Farley, please. And Vinford James and all the others who pushing you, they are blinded by greed, in my opinion, to have this foolishness going with Tobago, because only Tobago will suffer. It's 60,000 versus so much of us. So who the 60,000 in Tobago at war with?
Yes.
The 1.4 million in Trinidad?
Apparently.
Who go win in that? No, be real. Who win in that?
Yeah.
Them have to cause the waters to come here, you know? Do they have their own police service? Do they have their own immigration office? Do they have their own anything?
Remember Watson wanted all of that, huh?
Yeah, but wanted and having is two different things.
Correct.
So what are they going to war we with? I don't understand. About 100 and something thousand Tobagonians living here very happy, have made families, everything. What are you going to tell them come back home?
Yeah.
Really? They don't even try not to go back, right? So I'll only be able to self and do the thing the right way, but I expect to see more arrests based on the things that we have been seeing. It is eminent. There's no other thing, otherwise the police really doing the work, and that has nothing to do with political victimization or anything like that. They're doing the work. You all were on caught on a tape. You didn't deny it. Speaking about taking THA's money, taxpayers' money, and giving it to persons to spread propaganda. They didn't say education program, to educate people and anything. It's a propaganda machine.
Commerce machine.
Once you're doing that, it means to say that you're taking money to do something that is totally moral and legal. Because propaganda has a way. Countries would have gone to one propaganda. We saw what happened in Rwanda based on propaganda. We saw what happened in Germany, propaganda against Hitler. So these things are serious and it can't be allowed to happen. So Farley, you have to take your grind and all your grandstanding.
Will come to naught.
It will come to nothing. That will come to nothing. And Tobagonians need to understand. They need to stop this foolishness. I see Mother Bernie come out and talking and all that. All they can resurrect with on there. Yes. All the insults, all they want to throw at us in Trinidad and all they back in Farley. All they know, all they back in a dead horse, or all they just as delusional as Farley. That is not going to go anywhere. So let it continue.
Yes, so I'm seeing the names are Zia Hackett.
Yeah, Zia Hackett, Orisha Hackett.
Kevon McKenna.
But that's the one who does just that he had like she now step off Massa Plantation and
fascinators and all kind of thing, yes.
She's the one who have said on us that the dream that the PDP has for Tobago is the same dream our ancestors had when they were crossing the Atlantic Ocean coming to Trinidad, to the Caribbean. And I couldn't understand what it is this girl talking about, because I know my ancestors, the only dream they had on that ship is to jump out and get back to Africa.
Right.
So what dream? So she says this kind of thing. I don't think that she has the intellectual capacity, whether she wants to take it as an insult to anybody, tell that's her business. So to carry and drive a conversation and to have any real conversation, I think the whole of the THA right now with the TPP, I think all of them are the same.
Yes.
They do not have the intellectual capacity to carry anything anyway more than to just on the surface conversation.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if they had, they would have never been in the position that they're in today.
A situation of their own making.
Yeah.
Right, and in their attempts to sweep it under the carpet or to, toss it behind them, unfortunately, they have only made the situation worse.
Of course.
And they have brought the Tobago public into the mess as well, creating a narrative that this whole situation is not a serious one, and that is just something, a machination of the PNM in Trinidad, who vexed because of the 14-1, and they're still toting, and they still vexed because of that, and they're still licking their wounds, and so they're trying to see how best they could take revenge, because Rowley said he would have, if Tobago didn't vote for the PNM, that he wouldn't forgive them, and we are now seeing this is the PNM's way of carrying out that promise on Dr. Rowley's part. But one of the things that persons have said from Trinidad's side, of course, is there is a level of disappointment in how certain sections of the Tobago public have rallied behind Farley, because when we look back at the zipline issue, where they wanted to kill Tricky Tracy, right? Because Farley and Watson said that the Auditor General's report claimed that money was missing and so on, and with respect to that, and notwithstanding all of the explanations that were given and the documentary evidence that was provided by then Chief Secretary Ansel Dennis and the Secretary for Finance Joel Jack, debunking what it is was said by Mr. Augustine and Watson Duke, persons simply did not want to hear it. They only want to go back the money, the PNM this and the PNM that. And when we were telling them the THA is not the PSA, they didn't listen. They said, we just jealous, and Trinidad just want to meddle in Tobago business and keep out of Tobago business. Well,
you're the hood mentality, that, right? And I think that's what happened in Tobago. one say it, two say it, and then everybody's saying it, and then all of a sudden everybody's saying the same thing. But if you were to ask them, what is this about? They don't know because this one say
Yes.
and that one say. And that is what's happening right now. So they all are huddling together and just going with a singular thought that is not well thought out. And that is the dangerous part. I have said that Farley is the modern day Jim Jones. Because all these intellectuals from Tobago, I don't see how they could really feel that Farley being disrespectful to Dr. Rowley and to Trinidad and say anything that he's saying that the international community and the regional community is not looking on. Who would want to deal with somebody who behaves like that, that is unstable in the behavior? Because if you want to invest in Tobago, you want a stable economy. Has Moody said that Tobago is have a high credit rating?
No.
It's not Trinidad and Tobago.
Correct.
Who are going to invest in Tobago under those circumstances with Farley's behavior? They will not, because they wouldn't know how they make it back. They're going to get back the money. Look at the simple thing as the Tobago Carnival. They didn't come to Trinidad band leaders who have been doing mass for years to help them with it. No, we're going to Grenada because we want some water of Grenada. And okay, nothing wrong with that. But you went to Grenada and we felt that with Spice Band, the whole of Grenada was going to come down to tourism and all that. When you heard the Secretary of Tourism speaking in Grenada, and they were asking, well, if it would have place for Grenadians when they come. She said, well, if the hotels finish, they could go in some school and thing, or they could think. That is, I'm sure when Grenadians hear that, they say, why go in? Why even have to go there to do?
To spend my money to...
Just spend my money in some school or some building and all that. And then you're talking about, okay, Spice Band will come down. And when you look at it, it was local tourism that really pushed Tobago Carnival. The same people from Trinidad, they didn't want to advise them, as them went across and make all the carnival something. And it just had a couple of people from Spice. So when you see the behavior, remember when Watson Troop went to Dubai and talking about the blue economy or something and all that, where are the investors from Dubai?
Yes.
Nothing has happened. Farley went to England and get some
Germany,
award and Germany.
all over.
How has that translated in investments in Tobago? I have heard nothing. And that's because when the investors really look in and watch and they look at the risk and that they say they're not coming there.
But in addition to that, political instability.
And that's what I'm saying, who want to invest in that? So all those who push in the narrative, autonomy for Tobago, nothing is wrong with that, but there must be a foundation to push it from. Farley has broken all the foundations down.
Yes.
And he's not willing to listen. He just talking all kind of thing, this grandeur thing, and all he can tell me nothing. And boy, let the boy behave himself. This is Trinidad and Tobago, so just now you tell we had to get a passport to go to Tobago.
Yeah. Well, remember they were supposed to set up an embassy.
Listen, you only saying the worst one was to.
No, but they paid $1.2 million in rent and never used the building on Pembroke Street.
You really believe they could have set up anything? And the people in Tobago really believe they could have set up that agency to grab the real, I don't know. We always were told that Tobagonians were politically schooled. I never argued with that because I didn't know anything about that.
Yes.
But I would just assume because a smaller society and you had Mr. Robinson coming from there, a great man, you had APP James and so many others. So I took it for granted, yes. Then Watson Solomon Juke happened and PNM got a trash in 14-1 and I rethink my position. I said that could never be politically schooled because they had all the information from us here in Trinidad, especially persons from the Public Services Association, like myself and other comrades, who were talking since 2016, and would talk continually because I'm consistent with what I'm saying, and everybody else pick it up and all that. They hearing all that, and they didn't business about that. They didn't care. When it get too hot now, they put Juke in the back and put Farley to the front. What experience does Farley have? At least Duke was a minority leader before. So he had some type of thing, and then he ran an organization called the Public Services Association, despite the fact he ran it to the ground. But he still had some idea of anything. They put Farley, a school teacher, who does not have the skill or the ability, and would have told us that he didn't have any clothes. And Drew could have bought clothes for him. And all this kind of foolishness and wearing the suit and saying, Brother Drew, look, I put on the suit, and Drew sending kiss, and he's saying that. If that didn't tell Tobago people something, they could never be politically schooled to me. If they miss all those little signals, because if you're politically schooled, they will pick up on those things. They will want to know what happened in PSA. Okay, that is the kind of person. Okay, Farley saying these things now, you will examine it better, but they were so in the haste to get the PNM out. Not the PNM, really, Dr. Rowley. I don't know what is this hate with Dr. Rowley. I think it just goes on to jealousy. Because as a person who has his doctorate from Tobago, he has gone further than any of them would have done who have the doctorate. And I think they hate him for that. And because he's darker than them and all that, and then he grew up in Trinidad too. So I think it's a hate they have for him because he would have done much better than the Wilford James and the Max James. And I am saying that they could take me to that side of the business because I don't understand how a son of the soil from Tobago, you are not proud of the fact he's the prime minister and the things he would have done. So it's pure jealousy. So they will go down over a cliff with Farley to prove a point that is pointless. And it's only them will suffer. So let them war with themselves. They certainly want unity because we don't want no war. We want peace. We want to live in unity. So let them war amongst themselves. If that is what they want, a society has 60,000 people. Only about 40,000 is voters, and the rest is children and minors and all that. I don't know how they're going to do it. So they're in a real mess.
Well, this situation, Jen, is likely to get worse before it gets better, right?
Of course.
And the track that Farley and Trevor James and Faith B. Israel and others have taken, unfortunately, is one that, as I said earlier, seeks to draw the Tobago public into this bacchanal, creating a narrative that it's Trinidad against Tobago, that everything that is happening to us in this whole situation really is just the central government controlled by the PNM trying to punish Tobago for 14-1. And given the fact that you have a lot of people who are supporting Farley, supporting the THA executive and are buying into this narrative, do you think that that is likely to have an impact on the relationship between Trinidad and Tobago from the perspective in terms of when you hear the Tobago public echoing that sentiment that is Trinidad wicked and so on? We know this Trinidadians always stuff, we have bad mind, and if it is all they want to do, well, fine, we don't have to go back to Tobago. We have other places. We could go Grenada, we could go Barbados, we could hop on a plane and do this rather than come to Tobago. And by and large, do you think it is going to damage the trust level of Trinidadians who would still go across to Tobago but wonder, whenever I buy in this juice, or whenever I buy in this water?
I could tell me you're going. No, that's a serious thing. I'm going in a place where people were showing so much hate towards me as a Trinidadian, and I never did them anything. And when you would have heard what Chris Lemore would have said, and she never took it back. And advising is something that could kill people. It's just like when they say across your feces in the doubles.
Yes.
But I don't eat doubles at all. And I sometimes used to love, I stopped eating doubles must be about 10 or 11 years now.
Right.
Because just the thought that they say that some whack might really do that and like that. You know what's interesting right now, Dominic? You're not hearing much Tobagonians talking about no hate in Trinidad. I didn't know. I have friends in Tobago and they tell me right now in Tobago, they're fed up of Farley.
Yeah.
They're just fed up of this thing and he gone too far, especially a statement with he went Mason Hall and the neighbor string and taking it.
Yes.
Dr. Rowley neighbor string and he going to bring it down to Whitehall and all that. I think that was the last straw, especially for elders, right? Thinking elders in Tobago, it has gone. You see, they're not seeing no progress with the things he's talking. If he was talking, those talk and Tobago was flourishing and no, but nothing is happening. And they're just fed up. So the only people you're hearing talking about Trinidad don't like we and they victimize. It's just the social media people that have the
Right.
Bernies and the this one and that, but the population in Tobago, they had enough. That is why I think when Drew go back, because Drew will have no choice but to go back,
Yeah,
because he
yeah,
had nothing in Trinidad. I hear some talk, he say he's turning, coming back to PSA. Drew, come and tell you something. Try your best, Try your best. So he'll go back to where his community, where he's loved, and I think he will start to be a real problem for Farley. Because he know how to act, and he among his people, and and he don't say they don't read and they do this and whatever. So as I was saying, the people in Tobago are just fed up, they're tired. They want a rest from this bacchanal, and Farley just going from one extreme to the next. So he will soon realize the support he think he has or had, he does not have it. That is the real talk on the ground now. They had enough. They say it's too disrespectful now and he gone too far. So the division between us, that will heal. Because with family, at the end of the day, there's some problems in family, whatever. But for me personally, I've never been to Tobago and I'm not going to Tobago. No.
Okay.
And I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I good. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, but I'm not going there.
Right.
You see son and I able son. Son does burn my skin terribly, and I always say people say they go to Tobago, they come back, your skin does burn. And
that Tobago sun different.
different,
I always see that every time I go to Tobago, that sun different.
And so I nothing, and I know if I go there, I'll have to have all the people say it's a tourist because I have to have uncle and son, this and whatever.
Yes.
So I've never been, and the behavior of Farley and the whatever, I'm not going because I don't deserve that kind of hate. I've never done Tobago anything or Tobagonians anything for that hate to be against us. I've always seen Tobago being pampered and getting what they want. Under Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, they got 3 boats or 3 ships, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
They are not complaining no more. That the first time in history they have 3.
4.
It's 4, right?
4.
They bought for them, Tobago, not Trinidad. They get their budget, they get their money, they get back releases, we wanted money for Carnival, they get money for I haven't seen that this government under Dr. Rowley has kept them back from anything. I have, of course, they will get everything they want, but I have not seen them suffering unduly for anything.
Yes.
For them to be saying that Dr. Rowley victimizing them for 14-1. It's not the first time PNM lose an election, people, in Tobago. And when PNM lose an election, they just come back harder. Like they just more enjoy that and more than anything else. So that loss, 14-1, I don't see that as anything but
we just the PNM just took a rest.
Yeah, we take a rest. Remember time they say we had a 12-seater maximum.
Yes.
People laughing at PNM.
Correct.
PNM just did the work and come back.
And that is why it's an institution and not just a political party. Folks, we go to another break, second for this evening, and we continue the discussion when we come back on the other side of 9 o'clock. So stay with us.
Green Dot continues to deliver internet connectivity to a wide range of communities in Trinidad. With our combination fiber and wireless network, you get the service you need wherever you live. Stream your favorite shows, enjoy online tuition, stay in touch with your work team, and connect with friends and family with internet service at a price you can afford. As communities continue to grow, we continue to deliver. Call 224-GDOT or visit gd.tt today. Green Dot, improving and simplifying lives.
A warm welcome awaits you at Alicia's Palace, a hotel nested in the quiet hills of Lady Chancellor at 1 3/4 mile mark just above the Emperor Valley Zoo. Alicia's Palace is the perfect place to combine pleasure and business. A 24-hour facility with full amenities, including air-conditioned rooms with Wi-Fi, mini fridge, microwave, and a cable TV. Designed to provide you with quiet comfort and convenience. The perfect staycation location where you can swim in the outdoor pool, soak in the jacuzzi, or simply soak up the sun, all at an affordable price. Relax and enjoy local dishes in an eco-friendly environment. At Alicia's Palace, they conduct steam cleaning of all rooms and common areas in keeping with current health and safety protocols. Whether it's a special occasion or simply just to get away, Alicia's Palace combines affordability and quality service. For more details, check out their Facebook page, Alicia's Palace HQ, or give them a call at 621-1017 or 624-8553.
If you're planning an event, make us your first option. At Reality of a Dream, we can make your event memorable. We can assist in planning your corporate functions, moderate gatherings, family occasions, christenings, and more. We also cater for weddings and other special occasions. Our newly renovated venue includes a majestic entryway, which takes you along a path to a fantastic indoor facility, which can accommodate up to 80 dining guests. A recently completed, fully air-conditioned, beautifully designed wing, which maintains the theme and flow of Reality of a Dream, adds 30 extra seats for dining guests. In total, we can now seat a total of 110 dining guests. Come see for yourself the splendor that awaits you. Walk along the path and make your way to the breathtaking, well-maintained swimming pool and gazebo, and also the entire grounds of Reality of a Dream. We've also updated the Dream Suite, which comes with all modern conveniences, where guests can enjoy the feeling of an exquisite retreat overlooking the entire area. Reality of a Dream caters to professional events. We provide secure parking for guests, so call us at 332-6880 and ask for Harriet, located at number 15 Moses Avenue, San Juan. Reality of a Dream, making dreams come true every day.
Welcome back, and you're tuned into the Real Issues with Dominic Romain. So if you're just joining us, I have as my guest, well, my co-host. I'm calling her my co-host now, right? So yes, it's Jennifer Frederick, of course, who most of you would be familiar with right now, unless of course you're a first-time viewer. And to all of the folks who are taking us in on Facebook, good evening to all of you. And we are monitoring the page. So I'll take a little peep perhaps when we go on the next break, and then we'll see what are some of your thoughts, and Jenny and I can touch on it. But Jen, you know, I took a peep just now of the social media pages, right? And as you mentioned earlier, of course, the UNC is relishing the one seat in Arima, as if that is a turning point. Oh my gosh, look, one vote. And this you see the PNM, the UNC make inroads in PNM territory. Seriously?
They ain't talking about the inroads that we make in Princess Song that had them still counting the votes.
Correct.
They can't get it. They
Correct.
can't get over it.
And that very development, which is now causing some upheaval within the UNC camp, to the point where they are blaming Michelle Benjamin, the UNC MP for Maruga, for that, saying that you know. Well, I saw it. It's on the Facebook page of Rhoda Barrett News Source, leaked WhatsApp messages where apparently from some UNC group chat, where they are saying that Miss Benjamin is only supporting persons of African descent, and that would have caused persons of East Indian descent to turn away from the UNC with respect to that particular area, which I believe falls within Miss Benjamin's constituency. And that's a most unfortunate position for them to take. But, you know, they're saying, and they expect that the UNC is likely to lose Maruga in 2025 because of the posturing of the MP to persons of a particular ethnic background that is like hers. So, that's an interesting perspective.
Exactly. I've never heard that one before.
Yeah.
I guess the UNC will say anything right now to justify their relevance, you know. Because to be eaten up yourself so because you win by one vote. That's a big thing coming up as a business. Really, we look first time in history the PNM has done well in Princess Town. and you're not seeing the PNM going, oh my God, it just, it is what it is.
Break out the champagne.
Yeah, but what, so take any little victory all they get now and spin it to all your audience and keep talking about inroads and popular votes. At the end of the day, people, popular votes is not power and authority. Seats are. So you can get all the popular votes you want, people will like we and whatever. That ain't helping you with a seat and ain't helping you to be no player in the game. Just on the outside. So if you get the popular vote, if they want that, it will change in time to come. The constitution change as it is now. You could get your how much? 173,000 votes. PNM get 130 something.
Yeah, 130,000.
Right? I don't like agree about that, but that says.
But even with 130,000 votes, the PNM was able to hold.
And that's what I'm saying, hold
the ground and just 7-7.
So that's why I say we stood. Yeah. Really, Kamala Prasad says you did us a favor. When you jump out your whole self and talking about stand your ground, that is what PNM people did. They stood their ground and stood with the People's National Movement because they saw that you not singing right, the things you say not right, and will never develop a society. Even those will quote unquote your own was saying that what you're saying is not right. Yeah. So we stood our ground and we will stand our ground again in 2025. Don't worry.
But Jen, where does the UNC go from here? We saw yesterday there was an article in the Express entitled "The UNC Rises." Then embedded in that article were the comments of Jack Warner, Jolene John, Rudal Monilal talking about the UNC ascendancy and UNC is on the rise and all that, but the statistics show a totally different picture. In 2010, they would have gotten some 400 and I think 30-something thousand votes. And then in 2015, that figure came down to about 380-something thousand. And then in 2020, it came down to 309,000. So they have been heading consistent in the wrong direction since 2010. Let us not forget that the People's Partnership came into office in 2010 with an overwhelming mandate of 29 seats, right? We've been not seeing a mandate like that since 1986, the 33-3, where they thought that, yeah, that was the end of the PNM. But, you know, the PNM, if anything, is a resilient party and regroups whenever it is that they lose. They do some introspection, they do a postmortem, they identify what they did, where they went wrong, and they attempt to fix it, and they always do. We saw it again in 1995, when the 17-17-2, PNM lost, they regrouped, came back in 2001, 18-18, and then we saw Mr. Manning would have seized on the opportunity and would have been engaged in a massive infrastructure development project, which of course the UNC would have described as being vanity projects. I recall in 2008-2009 when the waterfront project was under construction, and at that time you were having between 2006 to 2009, some difficulty in getting building material, sand and all of that because of the amount of construction that was taking place in the economy. Mrs. Prasad Bisasa was complaining, too many jobs, they overheating the economy. The PNM is crowding out the private sector. That if it is you want to build a house in the private sector, you can't get a mason, you can't get a carpenter, you have to wait 3 and 4 months to get cement and blocks and all of these different things. So she was lamenting that too much was happening in the economy at that particular point in time where we were almost at full employment. And now it's too little jobs. How many people have lost their jobs and all of that? But again, as I make the point, the PNM has always shown itself to be resilient. In 2010, you referenced it just now, they said we were at 12-seater maxi. We went from 26 seats down to 12. The PNM was the butt of the beat of the jokes. Yeah. And what did they do? Under Dr. Rowley, they rebuilt, came back 5 years later. But between 2010 to 2013, in just 3 short years, the UNC went from 11 corporations down to 6, right? In that 3-year period. They never did any introspection to understand what caused that this popularity, this seeming favor that you would have enjoyed among the populace from 2010, where you got 29 seats in the general election, you got 11 corporations just a couple months later in the local government election, and from 2013 come forward, it has been loss after loss after loss, and rather than face reality, and say, well, all right, let's examine where we went wrong. Blame the EBC because of the 1-hour extension. The EBC does thief. The PNM thief the election. The elections was rigged. But nobody would come out and say, look, well, save and except for a few people who will say, the leadership, right? Accept that there were things that happened between 2010 to 2015 which turned people off, which left a sour and bitter taste in the mouths of many people who were willing to give the partnership a chance. Notwithstanding all that would have happened between 95 to 2001 and the fact that you had a number of players from that administration who came back, who were resurrected and came back into the partnership, knowing what they would have done. Mrs. Prasad Bisesa not to be excluded. But that whole Piako Airport situation and when she became Attorney General, but that's something that we will discuss in detail on another night. But the fact that you had these players and they were able to recruit people, create this partnership, and recruit people of integrity to sanitize this unholy alliance, and they were able to get the support of the population. And in the space of just 3 years, they lost that support overwhelmingly. And then in 2015, we saw what happened. They went from 29 to 18. And it was because of Emailgate, the 1 hour extension. Never mind the fact that in that 1 hour extension, the only party that sent out WhatsApp messages and emails to people telling them, take advantage of the 1 hour extension and go out and cast a ballot if you haven't done so, was the UNC. And when it didn't work in your favor now, you come to complain it was illegal and the EBC and the EBC and all of this foolishness. And again, you decided you needed to give your supporters something to try and comfort them. So you came up with this foolish election petition. You're going to contest 6 marginal seats as if the 1 hour extension only applied to these 6 marginals. You lost that matter. And by the way, they're still owing the PNM over $1 million in costs. We need the $1 million for Balize House. The same Balize House that they're always looking at and claiming is 100 million and 200 million. But right now, as you see, construction in Balize House has stalled for a little bit, right? So as Max and House say, we need the money. We need the money. So if anybody from the UNC hierarchy is listening, the PNM needs the money. So pay up now, right? Balize House needs work. So
Dominic, I was thinking about something. You ever see a boxing match, right? Just go 12 rounds. 12 rounds is going to push a match, right? And one of the boxers getting real upset.
Yes.
But when he go in the corner, the cut man and him tell him, don't worry, you have him under the ropes, man.
Yes.
You have him going, and the man I closing down.
Yeah.
The thing staggering. But they tell him, don't worry yourself. You have him, man. And the next man strong, bam, bam, going down. Every time you go in the corner, tell them that. When you reach the last minute, in the last round, he get a knockout. He had a consolation. Oh, don't worry, I was able to hold on till the last. Oh, that's what he was saying. And the supporters are saying, no, they still stand up, but they go to the last thing. They ain't talking about how the man I closed down, he could hardly see what, and that's how UNC is. Because all about the party is not about reality.
It's only
right?
false hope.
False
hope.
False hope.
And but what's worse, Jen, is that people buying into that nonsense.
Because it's something infectious there, whether it's something wrong or something right. It's a narrative and it holds on to you, and because you want to believe in it. Even if you're seeing that is not true, you don't want to give up that hope, because then what do you have next? You tell yourself, if you like what other people say, you see, we tell this one, you don't want to take responsibility, they keep holding on and holding on. Dr. Vishnu Bisram, I think he's Ghanese. He would have spoken about the Indian leadership in the Caribbean, and he said why they don't ever hold on to political power. They have economic power. But they don't ever hold on to political power, because when they get into office, it's not about good leadership or governance. It's about kickbacks and contracts, partying, cocktail parties. It's all about living a good life. It's nepotism, cronyism, and all the things that are negative. So they don't ever stay long, because after the first. And that is what happens, I think, with the UNC. It is really true to form based on what you would have said. It's not about good governance. As we get in there and we like and we sell. So we fly into India, a whole flight to India. We have a party and taking rotis, $200, this is that. Wherever go, we have 20. So how much ministries they form?
33 ministries, the largest cabinet in the country.
Exactly. Everybody getting a tush. You form a new ministry of justice just to create Section 34. It's all about that. It's not about good governance. If by the way you get a little sprinkling or something, it's good. But the main reason they go in there is not about that. It's just we on top now. We could do what we want. We could make, we could say what we want. We could talk to people, we want the money nice, we spending all our, and McCandle Daga said it. He never see spending money, so the people spending money from the treasury as if they have a right to it.
Yeah, they thieving money like if they invented it.
They invented it, and then yeah, Jerry had a talk about his rats and his rat. So and so I tend to believe Dr. Vishnu Bisram. That is why the UNC, they continue with that type of ideology and mentality. There will always be a one term. The People's National Movement has always been one that is very national, that is one that has always put country above anything else. Party does come secondary.
Generally, on that point, let's explore that point a bit.
Yeah.
Right? So you're making the point that the PNM, in terms of their governance strategy, has always been nationalistic.
Yes.
Right? On a macro level.
Yeah.
So it's not about one community,
no,
this group. It's always, let us look at projects that benefit Trinidad and Tobago.
And that's what it is
on the whole.
So, yeah.
Exactly. Because when you look at the UNC's governance style,
it's to this,
go into the community and put money in people's hand directly. So let us not put programs where people can come and learn a skill and so on. Baby grant, $500 a month to make child. Color Me Orange, 3 months, $69 a day.
Yes.
Right? CPEP, when Mr. Manning created CPEP back in 2006, 2007. Mrs. Prasad Bisessa, they said all they're doing is painting stones. Rudal Munilal said that. Mrs. Prasad Bisessa described it as the intergenerational transfer of poverty. And no other political leader has ever been so wicked to their supporters as Patrick Manning has done. Anand Ramlogan described it as a loveless thing. They had nothing good to say, but when they came in 2010, you increased the number from about just over 5,000 to about 15,000 when you left. But we create 50,000 jobs.
Keep us helpless.
Thank you. So you dangle this carrot, right? But you're not creating opportunities to bring people out of dependency. So instead of giving them a hand up, you're giving them handouts. And when it is a Dr. Rowley made the point, and he said, there is nothing wrong with the rich getting richer, but the poor must come out of poverty. What were the opportunities that Mrs. Prasad Bisessa created for the poor to come out of poverty?
And which part the poor is?
Thank you. Right? And what were the, exactly. And so now, when they talk about PNM constituencies is the worst and the most amount of crime and so on, and I ask, what happened in 2010 to 2015? What was meted out to these communities? East Port of Spain, 2011. State of emergency. Yeah, lock them up, and we go find the evidence later. How many young
lost their jobs?
Yeah,
got a
correct.
Police record.
Correct. So after you hold them behind by the pants, throw them in the back of the van with Inspector Singh, and you lock them up for if it's how much weeks as the case may be. They come out now, no job, they have bills to pay, family in shambles. Yeah. What did you expect the outcome to be? Right?
Look at the footballer. We used to play with, I think, the Connection. From Silas, I think it was.
Right.
They're pulling into that.
Right.
Footballer, he correct done there. So you ain't think, if he is into football, I'm just saying, you correct come and finish like that.
Prematurely. To no fault of you.
Right. You come back out now, your team has moved on, they don't want to work with you.
Yes.
You live in Silas, and that was your way out to help your community work. What are you supposed to do now?
Yeah.
Especially if you may not have the academic qualifications and football was your way to get out. Where does that leave you? So that you sit in a space and you have all these regrets, and then somebody come and say, boy, them is haters, boy, them is like nobody, boy, Putting that in your head now, and you done hating already.
Yeah.
Every day you come outside and you block it, what to do is the next you join you, having a similar experience and always say, no, the same talk.
Misery loves company.
Yes. And every day, and then you see them on the block now, and they might be smoking and cigarette, they are twiddling their hair, whatever it is, but you're not asking how it is they reach here. They might be one of the persons from in that get locked up during that, or their father may have gotten locked up, or their mother may have died, or their father may have died. You don't know. And then when you do that, you close down all the youth camps.
Yes.
You close all the training programs, and you bring it where it's just food card, baby grant.
And live sport.
Live sport.
$1,800 a month to go and learn maths and English.
Exactly, and that was never rolled out. And then you want to see the PNM.
Yeah.
The PNM put youth camps. Most of the tutors and who are running the youth camps were first campers when the camps had now opened. My past supervisor, she was a camper.
Right.
She became the kitchen supervisor, running the kitchen in El Dorado. She and the other one. Then you have those who are tutors in the different trades. They were campers. You have youth camp directors who were campers at one time. So, and they have a community. You close down the largest girls' camp in the world, not in the world, in the Caribbean and in Trinidad. I think we serve about 250 girls at full capacity.
Right.
Closed down that. So that's 200 and something girls who having challenges, who may have, they don't have post-primary again. The youth camp came like post-primary. And when you're there, you could go back to school and do CXC and those kind of things. You're doing a trade and all that. You close down that. You close down the one in Tobago. You close down the one in Chagaramas. You close down Chatham. You close down Presto. And those camps were a high percentage of people of African descent. So if further disenfranchising people of African descent, the same ones who you're saying, falling out on the wayside,
Yes.
those involved in crime. So you're cutting us down. When across the Carney Bridge, it's where it have all the industries. Point Lisa, it have all the things across there that is a different type of culture than us here. We don't have all that land space to do a lot of things. So when we get to, it have no place already go and plant and all that unless and Mr. Manning had the big farming thing that he had, the project.
Yes, the mega farms.
Mega farm, all that.
Which
all
was
that
also
thing.
shut down.
Right, they shut down all that, and we on the East-West corridor, we don't have enough land space. We already don't have enough, we don't have all the energy stuff that you all have across in Carney Bridge. And the things that we do have, all they take it away. And then want to blame the youths and blame African people, and then turn it around and say the PNM have African people. So really, what has the UNC opened for a young person in this country to benefit from?
Yes.
Tell me the camp they opened. Tell me the program they had other than baby grant and this foolishness.
Life sport where one man walk away with 34 million.
34 million, so he ain't giving it back. And
Not a
there's
stick
no
of
money
chalk,
can
not a
get
pen
back.
or a pencil eraser. Nothing.
Coming out of that, look at murders come out of that.
Yes.
And that could have been something so good for young people. Tell me what has the UNC put forward for young people when they came into office against the backdrop of the People's National Movement, who when we started to go to school, before that you had to pay to go to school. If you had no money and no property, you couldn't go to school. Education was free for all. There was getting book grants, school grant, food in school. You said, all you had was to do send your child to school.
Right.
You had all that happening. You had post-primary. You had mornings you getting milk to drink, you getting biscuit to drink. During the week, they carry you to learn to swim down at Chagaramas in the pools. You used to go and learn music. It's so many things it had under the People's National Movement, under Dr. Eric Rollins, and then it came under Mr. Chambers and all that. You telling me that PNM don't like African people or don't like people? It wasn't for African people, it was for all, but who gravitated to those things? But people of African descent, sports, African people, police, prisons, and all those areas. Who would have created those things? UNC didn't create the prison service or the police service or the nothing. What infrastructure did the UNC build in this country? Nothing. Churchill Roosevelt Highway, Uriah Butler Highway. Everything, all the infrastructure in this country is the People's National Movement put it on for all. Yes, there may have been issues with maintenance and all that, but tell me what infrastructure the UNC ever put down. Tell me what programs they put in place to help empower young people. If they could tell me that, I'll say, okay.
Yes.
Nothing. So then they have this rhetoric. PNM don't like African people because them come in and give you directly, as they say, in your hand. And PNM not giving you any hand.
Yeah.
Because it's not possible to give everybody in their hand. It don't make sense. So here what? I'm going to teach you to fish.
Yes.
So that when you finish there, you could go and learn, you could help yourself. And then the next set of people come to fish, but no. Come up aside, be sesame, make it weird. Open your mouth. I'll put the food in your mouth, I'll go chew for your massage your throat, and I'll carry it down. Helpless.
Yes.
And that's what they wanted us. So when the PNM come with Dr. K. Christopher Rowley, and you're not getting that, oh, they don't like nobody. Because, you know, at least the thief, you know, we say eat that food. But that food used to have you hungry, because when they don't eat it today, tomorrow you want food again.
Correct.
So the mindset to some youths, we had to change that going. I think we too, as a people, as I said it last time, we had to learn to know how to talk to them young people too, to get them to motivate them. We can't go at them all the time, and we have to know how to.
But kudos to the Ministry of Youth
Of
Development,
course,
because
they have been doing it.
they're doing.
But
The
it's not
problem
been
is that
advertised
that is
properly.
the problem. That is the central problem. Jay.
It's not. It is not. And
A program like the Homestead program should be spoken about in every home, in every community, that you are getting 2 years education, tertiary education at uni in agriculture.
I think people are shocked. The idea that, and that is, I think one of the problems that the African community have, some in our community, we are afraid of being big. So we'll have a parlor.
Right.
And we'll be happy with a parlor.
Yes.
And somebody said, why don't you go on and have a grocery? Nah, boy.
Yeah.
Me, I can't have that now. Where's a person of Indian descent? Them just going, them in care if they bust, bankrupt, whatever, but we more conservative. We comfortable in this zone, and we have to learn to come out of that, take the risk. Because they're doing it. You buy a piece of land, you mortgage the land and build a four apartment.
Yes.
Make that pay back for the mortgage. And while that paying back, buy a next piece of land or buy an old house. So even if you lost that one, you still have something again.
Correct.
No, we just frightened.
Yeah.
And I think that does keep us from really, we need to come out of that. We need to break free and be brave. Hearing that this is 2 years and you get in a house.
When you graduate.
I start
a home.
2 acres of land.
Correct.
And money to start
20,000 to start your business.
People say, nah,
and
boy.
the government also established a grant funding facility with NEDCO, 24 million.
Yeah, what they're saying, Dominic. Me neighbor that school thing now, boy. So they put up the first block there.
Correct.
Because they're scared of that end result.
Yes.
Because you want to put out.
Yeah.
You want to plant that land. Because they want to see what you do for that.
Correct.
Next thing I can't plan and I fail, boy, whatever. So here, let me start to fail from here.
Yes.
Nah, me, with that 2 years thing now, boy, with that small money, boy, and we put myself in that zone. So the people who get through, you're not seeing it.
Yeah.
They're not seeing real people who do it. I think what the ministry need to do, those who got through, show we the land they're on, show we the starter house, do a program.
Correct.
Let us see how they in these classes what they're doing. Tape in the classes, go in the classes and so when them young people see, they say, wait now.
This real.
They're real, boy,
This
but to them it's not real.
Yes.
And they need to understand to make it real, they have to go on social media.
And the only thing that UNC could have had to say about it, the PNM trying to vote apart, because a lot of the areas where these homesteads will be located is in their constituents.
No, but it's they have the land. We don't have no land across here.
Exactly.
But the land is not Indian land. It's not African land.
Correct.
Syrian land. The land is Trinidad and Tobago. So if we could get land across the Caroni Bridge to use to feed the country, we do business with this African, whoever going across there to think the land is our land, all of us.
And
or
the
they have
country
no more
benefits.
rights. Or they don't have no more rights to land than we. So I think the minister need to understand, make this real. Go in the classrooms, let other youth see, this is the settings. No, it ain't so hard, boy. Let us see the land, let us see the starter home, all the saying all they're going to give them. Let us hear about the money they're going to get and all that, make it real. It is not real to them.
Yes.
And that's a serious thing, Those programs that are happening, I saw they had one where they were teaching them to something with music. Look how much youth men now they just do the little singing and think them even know about that.
Right.
Because them think like a fantasy to them. To them, I can't get in there, boy. That's for them. You have to make it real. Let me see the youth with the jersey on, alone the vest on, and he cut off jeans or whatever. Make it real. So that next youth will say, I could go and get you.
Yes.
Minister Hines had a saying when he was the Minister of Sporting Affairs. I'm not trying to disparage anybody, anything. If a youth walk in the street with a rubber slippers and a cut-off jeans, let him come in the ministry. And when he come in, we go talk to him from there and change that.
Right.
But don't turn them back.
Yeah.
That's what he used to say. Let them walk in just so. When they come in, we will treat them with kindness. We will treat them with that and change them. We're not going to tell them, nah, come back with a long pants, because they may not have a long pants.
Yes.
That one a rubber slippers, let them come in. We will change them when they come in.
Tender loving care. Folks, we go to the final ad for tonight. How time flies when you're having fun. We're having the discussions. Yeah, Real issues. We're discussing it and we're bringing it real to you, right? Because there's a lot happening, a lot of stuff that the government is doing that people just don't know about. Right? And I always say it, and I make no bones to say, the PNM's biggest challenge is public relations. When the People's Partnership was in office, they had something called Voices Your Government working for you every minute, radio and TV, and they had the Voice newspaper too. We'll be right back. Stay locked.
My parents' generation grew up with Royal Castle from the first restaurant in 1968 when that distinctive, tempting aroma hit the air. Like never before, fried chicken with a special blend of local seasonings and a one-of-a-kind flavor down to the bone. Today, Royal Castle still have that same delicious taste and I love it too. And the kids, they have more to enjoy. For me, the castle is more than just nice food. It's we own, part of me and you, and is the real flavor of TNT.
Are you stressed and worried by problems? Then meet Priest Santosh G. Priest is specialized in palm, face, photo, and date of birth reading and gives solutions to problems in marriage, relationships, love, business, job, health, and removes all negativity and bad luck permanently and gives good luck and also gives lifelong protection. Home consultation is done. Call Priest Santosh on 756-8401. That's 756-8401.
The rainy season is here. Don't wait until your roof is falling into call. Contact Murphy's Roofing to get all your roofing services done now. Murphy's Roofing System is offering 10% off labor, 5% off material, 10% off roof cleaning, and 10% off roof painting. So contact them at 356-7663 or WhatsApp to 987663 or check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Murphy's Roofing System or Twitter at Murphy's System. And remember, Murphy's Roofing System, where you always get quality work for your money.
So, welcome back. You are tuned into The Real Issues with Dominic Romain and my co-host, Ms. Jennifer Frederick. And as we were having this spirited discussion before we went to the break, bringing the issues real, we're discussing it real and raw, right? Some people may not like it, but it is what it is. And off air, we were having the discussion as to how can we bring awareness to the young people in the country as to the opportunities that are available for them, right? This is just one of many opportunities or angles that we could take to treat with the whole crime situation. Rather than we just write off certain communities as saying, and that's a waste of time, you know, nothing good could come from there. We hear stories of persons saying that those who are trying, that when they send out resumes, from the moment you see a particular address on that resume, that goes in the bin. You're not going to get a call back, right? Because of this stereotypical mindset that we have, that certain parts of this country are no good. But some of the very people who are saying that couldn't even find Lavantel, Beetham, and Silots with the use of Google Maps or Waze. But they know everything that there is to know about these areas, right? But Jenny and I were having the discussion before. What did the People's Partnership do between 2010 to 2015 to develop these communities? I mean, in a real way. We spoke about live sport, but who really benefited from live sport? All the young men, the at-risk youth, as they call them, who were supposed to benefit from this program in terms of, well, they were supposed to learn math and English, and in some cases learn a trade, and they were to be paid a stipend while doing that. They get lunch and they get breakfast and lunch. But most of the time, they weren't even in the classroom because the man who got paid the $34 million to facilitate that aspect of the program walked away with the money, and he said the facilities were simply not in place for him to do what he had to do. So he was not in breach of contract. But the former Minister of Finance for that administration told us that the person who brought this individual to him was none other than the Minister of Sport, Anil Roberts. It is there in black and white in print for one to see, and he has never addressed that issue, right? You had Hoop of Life, Jen. $12 million budget. Most of that went into what? Buying vehicles for the coordinators and the directors of the program to drive around in.
Shaq came down here.
Shaquille O'Neal, lift up Mrs. Prasad Bisesa. How much that cost? Thank you. Thank you.
Dominic, do you know this is the 60th year of Best Village?
No, I wasn't aware.
So this is 60th anniversary of Best Village. Look, you're not aware of that. You know what Best Village did to this country? You know how many artists came out of Best Village? I started Best Village since I was 4 years old, singing in the choir with my mom. There have been musicians coming out of Best Village, dancers who have traveled the world, they just dance and for a living. Singers, artists, poets, drama tutors. I'm a tutor also, dance and dance education, adjudicators. There's a whole industry there. What has happened to Best Village has become a little thing in a corner. When Best Village used to happen under Dr. Eric Williams, a bus, 2, 3, 4 Thomas bus coming down from Mondiablo with the whole of Mondiablo in it, who coming from this side, that, and when you come down the Savannah Park and there's a competition in it, and it's so good folk fair, all these things, our cuisine was on the open there, all the art and craft, everything. What has made Best Village come to it shrink to a little thing in a corner that nobody do really talk about Best Village again?
Yeah.
All those things were things that will develop to harness our culture, our young people, our youth, nothing.
That competitive spirit.
That's what I'm saying. Those are things that will help our youth.
Yes.
Because you must have somebody, I think Corinne Asher came out of Best Village.
Right.
I think deceased Sigurd Sandra came out of Best Village, and so many others. Where are those things today? We need to find things. It's our youth might be saying, no, in the corner, wherever, and he could really sing.
Yes.
That's all he want to do. He's singing anything. Get him into Best Village, get him into something.
This young man that Mrs. Prasad Bisesa referenced,
young brother.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
All those things. We need to bring back that. That is why back in those days, it was a community. We are the village councils.
They still have those?
They have them, but the community center that they had them running them doesn't look like the community center is them also. A young person wanted to use to do a dance rehearsal or something. You have to ask this one who are the key, who say they can't use it, and it's not for that purpose and all that. All those things are real things that has be a hindrance, and people has end up saying the government and the government. That is why with local government reform, I'm glad it's coming back again to the community. Community centers and all that will have a reviving of village councils.
Right.
Where the village council also is the extension to the corporation. The village council will treat them with the community centers, so they will take care of that, but allowing people to use it, not only for when their family and friend have wedding and christening, that is the only time it's used, and the young people out in the road dancing and singing and all that. These things are real things. We have to come back to a place where we understand. We have to, not only academics only, the arts also, but we have to make it friendly and stop being so aggressive. The young people could never be like us when we were growing up, or like my mother. Each generation, young people does do something different. When I was growing up, my mother and them used to fine. We didn't want to go no class. We get in trouble. We coming home late because we liming. We wearing all kind of clothes because them was the days of Cyndi Lauper and Madonna. So you went rip up clothes, your stockings rip up and all that. And we parents couldn't understand what stupidness is going out in the road, but that was how we express ourselves. And they had issues with us. It's the same now we having issues with the young, but we had to understand we were young too, and what was considered problems back then with us is a different thing with them. Their problems is totally different. So we have to understand each generation have its issues and not simply say the youth are them bad and they want to do nothing. Because we parents used to be telling with that too.
Yes.
And their parents used to be telling them that too, so it's nothing new. But I'm going back to the programs again. Ministry of Youth Development, National Services have a lot of programs. Me personally thinking, youths on the ground really don't know because they don't look real to them. You're telling them, but that ain't sounding real.
Yes.
Their house,
Yeah.
telling me,
Yeah.
I could get a house if I go to
selling
school.
dreams.
Or they're selling a dream. That ain't
Yes.
real, man. They must say, I don't want people to do that, man.
Yes.
I should have select the own people. We had to get that out of the head. The music engineering thing. Not I for them big DJ and them boy and thing. Me, a man on the street, me, I no close to come that boy.
Yeah.
I don't have. And the negative side, instead of saying, listen, come as you are, come in. We will deal with that when you come in. We just want you in the door. Go to the classrooms, as I say again, televise, but well, make videos of it. Let the youth son go up and say, wait, man, really people graduate from that truth, boy? I think I go on thing. Let them know if you can read and write, come, altar, have altar there or something. We'll help you fill out your form because the thing right now, you don't really have to have that reading skill and things so good, but when you're there, we'll bring it up to par. Don't make them feel they don't feel it before.
Yes.
5 levels, yeah, that 3 levels, some have nothing. We have to cater for all that too. I'm not saying to pamper, but we have to understand there are young people out here, as I was telling you last time, a child in a class giving real trouble. Teacher fed up, the principal called the mother, they fed up, whatever. And it so happened that they were doing eye testing in the school, optician company, you know. When the test is eyes, he seen everything upside down. And that was his problem because he couldn't understand what they're talking about.
Right.
So the next thing to do is just a miserable in class paper. When he got his glasses and his thing, he was a student in the class. It has some don't hear properly. You think they're hearing you and because they're not hearing because their parents didn't have money to carry them to get no testing. And when they go and do a diagnostic testing, realizing the child couldn't hear.
Yeah.
How a child could function in a class? Or a child coming to school who's been abused or hungry or whatever it is. So sometimes these children they're behaving that way because they have a problem and a need that we just simply say they're miserable and they're bad. We have to find out about these things. The ministry is doing good work, the government is doing a lot of good work with the PR.
What role do the parents have to play in all of this, Jan? We always overlook that aspect of it.
No, the parents have a lot of responsibility, but
yeah,
if the parents have challenges too.
Right.
Because remember, parents are human beings too.
Yes.
They may have children.
Yes.
But they start off broken.
Right.
When I say broken, not financially broken, but broken inside.
Yeah.
Because of whatever challenges they had when they were growing up, that was never resolved. And you want them to be good parents. It might be challenging. Have parenting programs. Let the parents start to go back to the school, get involved with the PTA and all that. Don't make the PTA competitive way. If she mother come with her slippers and a little old skill, because I also have to make her feel how, because she may never come back. While she did have things you all could do to help make it a community. Don't shun people. The child mother is a cleaner, or the child mother is just a cook, but the others come in as doctor and this. Don't make that person feel that your job is not important. PTA is important. You have to find out what's happening with those. Counselors have to start to go in the homes of the police to see what's happening if a child is missing. Have a connectivity with the school, the police, and the child unit. If a child missing school 3 months or 3 weeks, whatever, call the child unit, whatever, they visit the home. Because they might very well see the mother sick at home and the child has to be home. You don't know. But I'm saying at the end of the day, parents have a responsibility, but they are human beings too that have the challenges, and some of them really can't cope. Some of them was never taught to be a parent because their mother was never a mother or father was never a father. So they just doing what they learn. But of course, they have a part to play. But some of them also need help.
Yeah.
They need help. And sometimes they're shunned by society because of where they live, of course, and how they look, what they have on and all that. So they just keep to themselves.
Yes.
So it's a holistic thing, and you have to have a lot of people into social work and counseling, or just people who have a passion and a care for these things. But the parenting is very, very important.
Yeah.
Very important.
You know, Jen, coming out of Monday's election, one of the things that I'm heartened by is the number of persons who are now coming forward saying that they want to do more in terms of, well, with respect to local government and the reform. They want to be a part of the process. So they're no longer prepared to sit idly by as bystanders and see and say, well, okay, well, the councillor ain't doing this and whatnot and stuff. They want to have an opportunity and a platform where I can hold my councillor accountable.
Okay.
I can hold the council accountable. That when it is things not happening, it's not just see all them politicians you see. I want somewhere that I can go. And now what is being promoted is that when the council has its statutory meetings, you can attend, sit down and listen to the debates and so on. So you can, your councillor can no longer give you a 619 and say, well, yeah, I raised that issue. You can go now and sit down. But I mean, I think the opportunity was there before, but now persons are being encouraged to really take up the opportunity. And so it now falls to the new councils coming in to ensure that they engage strategies that will help people, inform people of when you're having your meetings and so on. Of course, I don't think they'll be able to sit in on the committee meetings because I think those are closed door. But nevertheless, there are opportunities for persons to become more involved with local government to better understand how it operates, how it works. So that, and one of the echoed sentiments I've been hearing from persons are totally unrelated. And they've said to me, look, and I'm surprised that everybody's thinking along the same line. If it is that you as a councillor or as a council, you all know that you can't do everything in this year or in this term or this quarter, whatever it is, come and tell the people, right? Hold a community meeting, hold a town hall meeting, yes, and do that, and invite persons to come. So who do come? They can't blame you because we had a meeting where we spoke to the people and we told them this is our agenda.
WhatsApp group.
Exactly. There's so many avenues, so many different fora that you could use to be able to get information out there so that people will know and feel more a part of the process.
And that's what I'm saying. So that's why I mentioned this whole community spirit again.
Yes.
We could come back, not town meetings, because some people are in town, but village council meetings.
Yes.
Your council come at the meeting and update the village council, the people in the village, what is happening. All you want to know is what happening, you know?
Yes.
You might see the council come over, but you know, we have a village council meeting thing. Here we go down a line. That alone have you excited because you're part of. So when you say, listen, we want this done, you see a street light, might be one street light, and you say, yeah, we get a street light. It's all about people need to feel needed and wanted and the voice heard. Even if it's just to say, listen, I heard you, but I can't do this right now.
Yeah.
I will tell the councils, and don't make promises to people.
Yes.
Don't tell them I will get it done by the no. Say, listen, we are working on it. I'll keep you updated. And as soon as I get new information, I'll keep you updated. Don't tell them you'll get to, I'll come in tomorrow. Because remember, they will put things on hold to see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
When you don't come tomorrow, now they probably take time off from work. They probably, whatever it is, you don't come.
They pin in their hooks on that.
Yeah, so tell them, listen, I will let you all know. I will send a message out, whatever, and do whatever. But do something, have on the spot meetings, you go on a street, the street. Treat and deal with people. I believe in community. I believe in this local government. That's why I'm so excited about it, because this whole local government reform where you're bringing everything closer to the people on the ground, and the Ministry of Youth Development, National Services. My only challenge is the message is not out there. People don't believe it. The young people don't believe that real.
Yes.
That's a fancy story they tell and all that. And I firmly believe in the policies of the People's National Movement. Has always been one for nation, building nation, and I continue to support that.
But I agree, and I endorse what you're saying, Jen, because I think community development is a critical element in terms of dealing with crime. That when you create opportunities, who knows what will come out of that? And we could tie the property tax into that as well. That where property tax now can actually go into investing in the communities. And we're not just talking about infrastructure. We're talking about human resource infrastructure. Investing in the very same programs that you are talking about in the Best Village and the different cultural art forms and so on. Harnessing and trying to go there and see if we could find that hidden talent, because in every community you have a diamond in the rough just waiting to be discovered. And kudos again to the government for putting the community pools in Morva and Laventille, in Maloney, in Malabar, with other communities to come over, because who knows, maybe the next George Bovell, Siobhan Cropper, or Dylan Carter is just there waiting in the wings for this opportunity, for that ability to be uncovered. But again, we need to get, and we're not just talking government here. Dr. Oli once spoke about weaning yourself off of the government.
Of course.
The private sector, the corporate sector have a role to play too, because when you are lamented how much money you have to be spending on security, to hire security guards and cameras and all of these things, invest some of that money into the community, right? For, again, community development, to create opportunities for the young people so that they don't have in the next 2, 3, or 5, because when we look at the age range of the persons now who are being arrested for some of these most heinous crimes, it's between 14 and 25. If it is that we had engaged in that community development and investment 10 years ago, instead of box drain contracts, that drain starting here and it finishing there, where it start and end, it makes no sense. Millions of dollars pumped in there and resulting in about 74, 75 persons murdered for these very same box drain contracts between 2010 to 2015. That money would have been better spent. That 34 million that one man gets would have been better spent in investing directly into the communities for the groups that are already established and crying out for funding but cannot get it for one reason or the other. And that is where the focus needs to be. Let us invest in what is already there. We need to be pragmatic. No need to reinvent the wheel.
Look, Dominic, and to tell you how serious Best Village and the art could be. I took part in Best Village this year. Well, right now, I think the Queen Show is the last part of it will happen now. The amount of groups coming out of the communities that are more of Indian descent, and they're taking part in everything.
Yes.
And in that space, everybody's one.
Yeah.
It ain't no Indian group, and it's a love and a excitement. You're screaming for them the same way you scream for next thing. And they're doing all type of dance, not just Indian dance and no more. They're doing the soca, they're doing spiritual, they're doing everything, and the African groups, they're doing the Indian dance.
Yes.
And it's such a love in that
a melting
space.
pot, yes.
And people don't understand how the art does bring all races together. When you're in that space, Dominic, you feel a love, you feel a togetherness. Everybody helping everybody. Your costume down, you don't have this, somebody lend somebody, this one come and help. There's no use an Indianized African, no. You don't have it there. It's all about the competition, about the art, it's about the love for the art. Those are things I believe could help our young persons to understand, hey, we are one at the end of the day.
Yes.
We have different cultures, however, we could mix it sometimes. We could hold our own, you hold yours, but we could mix and be together, and we don't have to be at our adversarial at all. But I saw somebody put something here saying that, Dominic, they have a suggestion. They would like to try and get some young boys and girls between the ages of 15 and over to come up with topics for what 2025 general election is about for them, and have a live discussion with them.
You know, I like that idea.
Yeah, that was Janet Lewis Reed.
Thank you so much for that suggestion, and I am definitely going to take that on board. And so yes, I will try and engage some young people to come in on the program, and yeah, let's hear their perspective and their suggestions on what could be done to improve the overall social situation in Trinidad. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah. That's
I like
Janet Lewis Reed. And again, art is my passion, and I more prefer to deal with young persons and children, because you get so much more from them. They're so willing to learn and have so much ideas, and you feel energized in the space with them, because they have so much creativity in them that people just take for granted. And to see, for instance, quickly I will tell you, if I do a dance, say, you tell them they are seed in the ground. And mimic that, and then you have some come and water the plant.
Right.
And then you tell them the plant is growing now, and the plant is growing, and when it has grown a little bit, now it's getting a little still, it has more branches, and they're doing all the action, and then it has fruits on it now, and then the fruit is time to pick, somebody come and pick the fruit, and then the wind blowing, it have a storm, and then that tree, the branches broken, it get old, and it goes back down to the ground. That is a whole production there.
Right.
That is dance, music, drama, everything. And they created, I love to let them create their own things, and then I just correct and strengthen and tighten. So when they dance or everything is finished, when they watch it, it's their production. And what I did, just the technical work and all that. I love seeing that, and you see the difference in them just seeing, we did that. Miss, I did this. So those are the things that, because from that space, I firmly believe the art is one of the ways also to touch young person's life and to get them to understand how to deal with the emotions and to treat with issues in a non-violent way, but through artistic way, the music, they could do it through dance, drama, and that. So I'm really excited about that, and I hope that with this local government reform, that community centers are open back up, that village councils are started back, and we have groups really starting to get involved in Best Village in a big way, and we go from there. But we really do need that.
Folks, we are out of time, but as you can see, definitely not out of things to say. So Jen, you had to come back next week. We need to continue this conversation, and I want to thank that for that excellent suggestion.
Janet Lewis Reed.
Yes, and we will definitely take it on board. So going forward, and if it is that you all know, you all have young people who involved in this thing, please send us their names on the chat, and we will be more than happy to engage them on the program and give them a platform to speak.
And that will make them real, because they might come to this and realize they like being in the back of the thing, they like being on television, or they might come here and ask the guy, hey, how you do this, and want to get into camera work and all that.
Yes.
But you see, it's not real to them. These things are not real,
Right.
Like somebody else does do them things.
We will make it real, folks. So again, thank you all so much for joining us this evening. It's always a pleasure to be in your company. We trust that this evening's discussion was enlightening, elucidating, and it's what we do here. So tell a friend to tune into the program next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Remember, I have Wendell Eversley on Tuesday, and we'll see, probably bring back Jen on Wednesday or Thursday. But trying to inveigle her to host the program for me when I go on vacation. But we'll talk that up. So enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend, and we will chat again on Tuesday.
Have a blessed night, everyone. Blessed weekend.